Here go through to face Keighley or Widnes, who meet in the other semi-final on Sunday afternoon, 3 o'clock kickoff at Cougar Park. The Cougars' debut appearance in a Northern Rail semi-final and up against the current holders. Well, a lot of speculation ahead of this game as to the makeup of the Leigh Centurions lineup. There are 9 changes from the side that lost to Batley in the Cooperative Championship last Sunday, 32 points to 12. The 4 dual-registered players that Leigh have on their books at the moment return, and the big surprise is the inclusion of Robbie Paul, supposedly out for 2 months, back after 3 weeks, having recovered from a groin injury. So Stuart Donlan is at full-back. Then it's Steve Maiden, Matty Blythe, McGrath Luluai, Dave Olstead, Martin Ridyard and Robbie Paul. In the forwards, Ricky Bybee, Dave McConnell, Jake Emmett, James Taylor, Tommy Goulden and Lee Mitchell. And on the bench, Chris Hill, Dave Armitstead, Adam Hickson and Tyrone McCarthy, but no John Duffy or Mick Nannin for coach Ian Millward. Now then, the Batley Bulldogs make just 1 change from the side that beat Leigh Centurions last weekend. Josh Griffin has been recalled by the Huddersfield Giants, and so Mark Toohey comes in the centres in his place. Johnny Campbell is at full-back. Then it's Alex Brown, Danny Morn, Mark Toohey, Lee Greenwood, Paul Hanforth and Gareth Moore. In the forwards, Byron Smith, Chris Lythe, Sean Hesketh, Jason Walton, John Gallagher and Ashley Lindsay at loose forward. And on the bench, Craig Potter, David Tootill, Chris Buttery and Mick Govin, and the coach, Carl Harrison. Well, as mentioned, these two meeting for the 2nd time in 5 days, and those Leigh Centurions supporters hoping that it's going to be a better performance from their side than that they saw at the weekend when Leigh were beaten 32-12. Batley Bulldogs fans hoping for a repeat performance of that. You'd have to say, though, that with 9 players returning, Robbie Paul back again, it looks as though it could be a different story tonight, Barry.
The Leigh Centurions side know that there's a hell of a lot riding on this game. Ian Millward has good pedigree in finals, 2 grand finals, 2 Challenge Cup and a World Club Challenge with Saints. He'll want his side to not only get through to the final, but in winning that final they will guarantee themselves a chance to put in a licence bid.
But Leigh, well, their form has dipped a little bit in recent weeks, perhaps because Robbie Paul has been absent. They've lost the last 2 home games against Featherstone and Halifax, while Paul Hanforth and the Batley side have won 5 of the last 6 in League and Cup. Their only defeat, 12 points to 74, Challenge Cup quarter-final hiding by the Catalan Dragons. But Carl Harrison's men have numbered Widnes Vikings among scalps in the recent weeks, and Rhino, as he's known throughout the game, knows all about Cup success. As Robbie Paul leads out this Leigh Centurion side, and the story about Robbie Paul is that he sustained a groin injury, and not just any ordinary groin injury, the sort of groin injury that would make your eyes water. And it's impossible to go into detail at this time of the day because some people might still be eating their tea, because this really isn't one for the squeamish. But suffice to say, Robbie Paul is playing tonight wearing a cricketer's box for protection. Robert Hicks is the referee for tonight's game. Stuart Cummins the video ref, and it'll be the Batley Bulldogs to get us underway. There is Robbie Paul, one tough competitor.
And what a player to have in the changing rooms. When you look around, 9 players, you're right, Bill, there's 9 players come back into this Leigh side. They're not going to take this Batley side for granted. This Batley side are going to come here full of confidence from getting that result last weekend.
But Leigh, as Barry has mentioned, know what's at stake here, and maybe a bit of pressure on this Leigh Centurion side. Everybody telling them, if you want this Super League licence, it's either the grand final. There's a little knock on there. The error early on by James Taylor, spotted by Robert Hicks.
Well, there's the first mistake. You can see James Taylor just loses that ball. But you try telling these Batley players that they've got nothing to play for. There it is, just a little fumble by James Taylor. This Batley side full of confidence. They want to get that result and earn their right to play in the final.
What a story it would be, what an upset it would be if the side 9th in the table at the moment could overturn the second-place team. But it's after that error from Taylor, Batley Bulldogs in possession. And Byron Smith playing the ball. Here's Chris Leigh and now Hesketh, and Hesketh starting strongly. Good run from him. Here is Hanforth now pulling the strings, but the pass goes behind his teammate and Greenwood has to scoop the ball up. Leigh supporters claiming a knock on there, but Greenwood picked it up cleanly. McGrath Luluai, big hits on Lindsay. Oh, they might have been fortunate to have possession there. Little kick came to nothing and picked up by Ricky Bybee.
It'll be interesting to see what tactics both sides use. I think on a hot, warm day like this, possession, position and pressure are key. A good kicking game, a good kick chase, and try and play your opposition down near their own end.
It is a beautiful evening, apart from if you're running around out there playing the game, because it's very still, hardly a breath of air in this wonderful stadium. Of course, this is the setting for England's emphatic victory over the French last week. Somehow don't think we're going to see such a points fest here this evening. The pitch absolutely immaculate, and it's hard to believe that they're actually going to dig this pitch up in 2 weeks' time and replace it with a new one with some synthetic weave in it. This looks as good as you could possibly hope for.
What a waste, Bill. There's a lot of teams in Super League that love a pitch like this.
I know a few people who'd like a
I was just thinking the same
lawn
thing.
like this.
You might make a few inquiries about a synthetic weave yourself, Tez.
Oh, that's below the belt, and it's early on in the evening. Daggers drawn already. Daggers drawn here between the Batley Bulldogs and the Leigh Centurions, and on the last, Hanforth hoists that one, looking to put a bit of pressure. The ball into the sun, but well taken by Alstead. The follow-up's there, held, says the referee, and they did well there. Tui just managing to release his man before they conceded the penalty.
Well, Gareth Moore trying to use this sun, testing Dave Alstead. You could see the Batley defenders not giving him a chance. This will be interesting. Will Leigh go early in the kick? I think Robbie Paul kicked on the 4th tackle last time. You just want to play the game down the other end of the park.
I believe they'll kick early all night, Tez.
Leigh making their intentions clear, looking to give this ball a bit of width. It's Mitchell just tackled inside his own half as he plays that ball. And it's back with Martin Ridyard, and Ridyard now hoists one across the field, and Greenwood, well, it erred on the side of caution there. That was probably sensible. They say don't let the ball bounce, but there was the possibility of the error as he looked into the sun.
He didn't want no piece of that, Greenwood. He allowed it to bounce, a very dangerous tactic. But again, Ridyard, Martin Ridyard, he was the guy, the last time we came here and we watched Leigh, we gave him man of the match purely and simply on his controlling kicking game.
That's going to be an important aspect for the Leigh Centurions tonight. No John Duffy and no Mick Nannin either. Duffy with, I think, a calf problem. Nannin with a nasty finger injury, a split to the finger, some tendon damage as well. And he's going to be a big loss because, of course, he is the main goal kicker. Ridyard will have the job this evening. Penalty, though, to the Batley Bulldogs. Mitchell penalised.
Mitchell and Leigh just trying to grab that extra second. His eyes are open, he's looking for the referee, he's looking for that move call, and as soon as you hear that, you get up and get to markers, just a second too slow.
Well, Robert Hicks said, you're looking at me, you've got to do something about it, you've got to move, don't just lie there.
Come on. You even looked at me then.
Penalty to the Batley Bulldogs, 7th in the table. Not 9th, as previously mentioned earlier, demoted them, and in fact, Carl Harrison very much looking for a playoff place as well this season, and looking good for that with this run of form they're in at the moment. But can they continue it in the Northern Rail Cup semi-final? July the 18th, the date they want. That was high round the neck by Goulden.
Tommy Goulden, you've got to keep your marbles. You could see that Byron Smith had made good inroads. They're playing direct, they're playing straight. Tommy Goulden straight grapple round the neck, bringing Byron Smith to ground.
And they're going to go for the points. Gareth Moore, who'll kick a goal, as he did so successfully at the weekend. 2 tries and 6 goals in that win against the Leigh Centurions last weekend. And Moore, 92 successes with the boot this season, will look to get Batley off the mark here. And it might be a night where every point counts significantly. Gareth Moore spent a lot of time in the warm-up practicing his field goals from about 40 metres out. I wonder if it'll come down to that sort of margin.
He didn't miss many either as well, Bill. He was banging them all over.
He's looking to bang this one over. The Leigh Centurion supporters behind the post looking to put him off. They don't do that. And the visitors are ahead by 2 points to 0. Gareth Moore with the boot.
And a good confident start by Batley. They're playing straight and direct up the middle of the park. Carl Harrison, the Batley coach, will be very happy. They've controlled the ball. They're getting towards the kicks. The end of the set to 6.
Well, the Batley supporters here in not huge numbers, but making plenty of noise. Yet to hear a vuvuzela. I wonder how long it'll be before one of those makes its mark. Oh, that's a mistake at the back by Byron Smith.
Modern day front rowers, you are required at some point to make a decision there. That's on the bounce of the ball. Unfortunately, Byron Smith can't drag it back in, but Johnny Campbell was his catcher, and Johnny Campbell wasn't that confident. He allowed it to bounce. Goal line drop out.
Ridyard really got a hold of that one, and it was travelling at some pace, as is Jacob Emmett as he drives that ball back, winding up for a tilt. And Sean Hethkes standing his ground there. Now here's Ricky Bybee. Bybee making his 50th appearance for Leigh. It's taken him 3 spells at the club to achieve that statistic. Here is Emmett now. And Leigh, for the first time really in the opening 8 minutes here, putting a bit of pressure on the Batley defence. Robbie Paul, McGrath Luluai now. Luluai playing in the centres in the absence of McNannin. McConnell, Robbie Paul, Mitchell dumped to the ground. That's a good strong tackle by Jason Walton. On the last as Robbie Paul sweeps the ball out wide. Little grubber kick comes in. And Johnny Campbell was playing a dangerous game there.
That was a clever kick. Johnny Campbell.
Campbell it was, I beg your pardon, yeah.
He's just waiting. He knew that the ball had a bit of distance on it. But what Batley have got to do, they've got to look up on the right-hand side. Leigh are starting to target them on Leigh's left. There's a mistake.
It was Lee Greenwood, I think, who spilled the ball. It just squirted out of his grasp. Maybe slippery palms in this warm evening here at the Leigh Sports Village.
You've got to make sure you have control on the ball. You don't want to be turning the ball over to Leigh.
Here's Bybee now. Robbie Paul. Short ball finds Taylor. Taylor is brought down, but here is Donlan now. McConnell. McConnell's pass for Olsted, and Olsted heading for the try line. McGrath Luluai now. He's taking a charge at this Bulldogs defence. 4 of them to stop him right on the try line. Robbie Paul. Sweeping pass. Donlan steps back in field and almost through. Stuart Donlan, the fullback. That's the 5th tackle. They go down the short side, and it's not forward.
That's a poor play, that. That's always a 50-50 gamble. Comes off the line, tries to get it. And Alex Brown just putting more pressure on his side. But lads, I've been watching Robbie Paul in the last 2-3 sets. He's very ginger. He's very almost holding his body in. And, you know, we all can forgive him for being a little bit tender and a little bit sore. But I would suspect that Batley will look to exploit that.
Nice ball back on the inside. And it was Matty Blythe who took the pass, then plays the ball. Tommy Goulden now. So having converted that penalty, gone 2-0 up, Batley have been under virtual constant pressure since then. They didn't deal with the restart, and Leigh have been hammering at the try line, and they're hammering again with Ridyard. Donlan fancies it once more. That was high. And another penalty, back-to-back penalties. Somebody will have to be spoken to. Robert Hicks, or is he calling out Tui?
I think he's done Paul Hanforth, said that Paul Hanforth's the man who's gone high.
Okay. You were high. Yeah. It's just, when we get on the line, we don't want to be giving penalties away. And you've already given 2 away on the line.
So Robert Hicks laying down the law to the Batley Bulldogs skipper. And so the penalties only increasing the pressure on this Bulldogs defence. Can they withstand another set from the Leigh Centurions? Here is Robbie Paul once more. That looked a touch forward to Jake Emmett. McConnell, Robbie Paul now, again swinging the ball out wide to Ridyard. Good hands, great hands, and this time they are in, and it's Steve Maiden who'll get the try in the corner. So the indiscipline of the Batley Bulldogs is punished, and Maiden gets try number 9 this season, squeezing in at the corner, and great hands from the Leigh Centurion side, swinging the ball out wide.
Well, Paul Hanforth gives the penalty away there for the high shot, but it's all come off the back of the mistake from Lee Greenwood when he was trying to get the ball away from his line. You could see that Robbie Paul, he's so good when he takes the ball to the line, he straightens the players up, and Alex Brown, you cannot give your winger that much space on the try line. You can see that Alstead, he's held his, Steve Maiden, sorry, he's held his width. John Duffy, Ian Milbourne go up as they know that they're in this game.
So, Steve Maiden, and with that try, he passes 150 points for the club. Another one in his second spell. Now Ridyard, in the absence of Mick Nannin, has the goal-kicking duties. With Nannin monopolising that role in the side. Ridyard's only kicked 3 this season, but his first attempt is from way out wide and across the face of the posts. But Steve Maiden's try has put the home side ahead in this semi-final. 4 points to 2 they lead.
All this pressure came about almost 5 minutes ago when they dropped a kick-off, and watch Alex Brown. He's up, he's back, he's sideways, he does not know where he's supposed to be and doesn't give himself any chance of making that tackle.
Back-to-back tries against the Bulldogs then for Steve Maiden. One of their try scorers in that defeat last weekend at Batley, and now on the scoreboard as Leigh go in front here. And Bybee in possession, plays the ball. Taylor. So Leigh have recovered strongly from a bit of a sloppy start, knocking on virtually from the kick-off, putting themselves under a bit of pressure, conceding that penalty. Just going back to that point we were talking about earlier on, it really is important for the Leigh Centurions not just to get to the final, but to win it if they're to achieve their goal. They've got the ground, there's no question about that. It's Bybee, had time there, got the pass away to Goulden. On the last as Robbie Paul just dinks a kick over the top. Greenwood, though, had time to gather that one. Good chase, though, from the Centurions.
And you were talking, Barry, about Robbie Paul. I was watching him in that set of 6, and he was just playing a simple set over the middle of the park. He knew that he wanted to get back to that kick, try and force the error down this end of the park. Batley have not held themselves when they've been bringing the ball away or when they've been in defence down this area. There he is.
Robbie Paul's a quality player, and all those years of experience at the very, very highest level. You know, people look at him now and look at his age and look at the number that his age is, and to him it is just a number. He's enjoying what he's doing and giving Leigh good value.
34 years of age now, Robbie Paul. And in possession, fielding that ball, so, and getting one around the neck as well. It looked a bit high from John Gallagher.
Well, a bit of frustration creeping in from John Gallagher. You can see that could have been penalised.
There's a problem for James Taylor, it is, and in fact Robert Hicks has stopped the clock because Taylor now actually in the middle of the defensive line, and there's obviously a cut high up on the forehead there by the look of things, and he's going to have to be surely taken off to get that treated.
Plenty of blood coming out. Looks an absolute cracker.
That's 3.
Referee Hicks.
Will it be Tyrone McCarthy that enters the field of play?
Yeah, Robert Hicks just saying that he's got to leave the field. It's going to take more than a bit of Vaseline, I think, to staunch the flow there.
3 there. Hang on. Just let him get on side.
And it is Tyrone McCarthy who comes on in his place, another one of these dual-registered players.
Well, that's not a bad replacement to bring on for James Taylor.
Move! Go.
Jake Emmett,
5.
a Saints player, also dual-registered with this Leigh club. Ridyard, kick down the middle again. It's Greenwood who is underneath it. Former Leigh Centurions player, in fact, Leigh Greenwood.
Hold. Go.
Absolutely nowhere to go, this Batley side. Leigh are content with building the pressure in the defence.
2.
Alex Brown plays the ball. Here's Danny Morn, but Morn was very quickly closed down. Now the danger man, Johnny Campbell. 22 tries this season, Campbell. So he's the man that the Leigh Centurions have got to watch. Danny Morn. That's the 5th tackle just inside their own half, the Batley Bulldogs.
Okay, clear.
Moore, kick down the middle, finds a bit of ground in between Donlan and Olstead, and it's Olstead who makes off with the ball.
And that was the difference when Batley were defending that. Quite a laboured chase down the middle of the park. You've got to make sure that you come up and present a line in front of Leigh with so many dangerous players.
Move! Come on, Paul.
There's the try scorer, the only try so far, Steve Maiden. Bybee, Leigh Mitchell now. Back from duty with Warrington Wolves. McGrath Luluai, just over the halfway line. Bybee. That's the 5th tackle as Bybee goes to ground. McCarthy, little chip ahead, taken by Chris Leigh, and that'll be another penalty.
And that was a poor penalty to give away. Gallagher on the last tackle, and nothing kick really, just a lazy arm around the chest of Tyrone McCarthy. And a shot from Chris Leigh as well, a shoulder barge. Keep going, he says, Ian Millward.
Emmett plays the ball just about 5 metres out. Robbie Paul just teasing the Leigh defence, and then it's Goulden dumped to the ground. Strong defence by Danny Morn there. Again, Bulldogs very quickly up on Donlan, it was, who took that pass. Alex Brown, Campbell it was, trying to extricate himself. Change of direction. Ridyard, Mitchell gets the ball away. Surely they had men out wide, but it's back in field to Mitchell, and Mitchell's grounded just short of the try line. Olstead was screaming for that pass. It might eventually come to him, but Ridyard is tackled, and that's good defence.
Heroic goal line defence. Johnny Campbell, the Batley fullback, he was at marker on that last play. Here we see it's a good shot, poor grip, and the credit has to go to Batley. They're showing enough urgency. Almost 20 minutes gone and there's nothing in it.
Johnny, get it looked at, you're bleeding.
Ridyard very close to getting over the whitewash there. A little note goes into the book for Carl Harrison.
I think there's some more blood, Bill. Johnny Campbell bleeding.
Leigh Mitchell likewise.
Get yourself wiped, don't use your shirt. Hang on, guys, the time's off.
Chicks dig scars, Bill, as I always say.
And Campbell furious with the Batley bench because nobody seems to be paying him any attention.
Let's go in. We're okay.
He's been told to leave the field and get the blood sorted out,
Let's get in, tight heads.
which he does.
Let's get tight heads.
But at the moment,
On,
there's nobody to sort it. Eventually, it's just a little graze on the cheek for Campbell. Mitchell is restored as well.
Get him, McGrath. Ball in, Paul. Time back on.
Play continues. A big hit that was. Goulden put his all in there, and I think it came up with a... But Goulden is a mess.
Well,
just in back play at the moment. Tommy Goulden made his mark there, but it's cost him.
Well, John Gallagher was the man who gave that penalty away. Now he's come up with the mistake, and Carl Addison looking to make the changes and get some fresh men on in the middle of the park.
Goulden, though, is leaving the field. OK, he put the shot in, but he has just left the field with blood streaming from a cut to his head. So there's blood all over the place here. They've had 2 already in the blood bin. Chris Hill already off, and there is Goulden, and you can just see on the ear.
Well, they'll be on the overtime tonight.
They brought enough cotton. Here's Robbie Paul. Blythe trying to go on the outside.
Oh, he's lost it.
Matty Blythe has lost the ball. And it's picked up by Steve Maiden. Lucky to get away with that. Here's McCarthy now. McCarthy, still legs driving, getting nearer and nearer to that Batley Bulldogs line. Batley supporters thinking their side was hard done by there. Be interesting to see how that ball ended up in the hands of Steve Maiden. Here is Ridyard, keen to take him on again himself, and Byron Smith wrestling with him. Here's Mitchell, and again it's good defence from the Dogs, right on their own try line, but real terriers. And the supporters urging them on here as they try and keep the Leigh Centurions at bay once more. That's the 5th tackle. Can they withstand this set of 6? Robbie Paul standing back. Ridyard puts a little grubber kick in, and Alex Brown opts for safety first there, shovels the ball dead.
Batley getting plenty of tackling practice there. Didn't look too sure about that. It's along the floor, difficult. Probably had the numbers outside Leigh. It was a 3-on-2. You have to say that they're standing up to the task, and if they can get through this 5-10 minute stint without the Robbie Paul Leigh side getting over the try line, then they'll feel like they've almost scored a try themselves.
Well, it's really relentless Leigh pressure virtually since Gareth Moore kicked that penalty goal for the Batley Bulldogs, and another penalty goes against the Bulldogs.
Well, it's David Tootle who's just come onto the park for Sean Hesketh. His first involvement is trying to turn Ricky Bybee onto his back, giving the penalty away. He's got to be quicker away from that rope.
So Ridyard thumps that ball into touch, and the Bulldogs retreat once more towards their own try line. It's Ridyard, and Ridyard, quick pass, and it's Adam Hickson only just on the field, and now face down on it. Hickson plays the ball. Robbie Paul once more. Well, he might be carrying this very painful injury, but he's not shirking his responsibilities. The Leigh Centurions captain. Ridyard. Here is Robbie Paul now. McCarthy. McCarthy again looking to take him on. Batley on their own try line, and Bybee has lost the ball. And cheers from the Bulldog supporters as they salute a noble effort from their side.
In the last 10 minutes, Batley have made 4 handling errors and give 4 penalties away. That's 8 sets they've had to defend. And if you can stick in that arm wrestle, Ian Millward knows that's another chance come begging.
So Batley ringing the changes. Potter, Tootle and Govin have all come on to join in the action, and Batley get the penalty.
Oh, they needed this. They needed to get this penalty, get a bit of energy back into the legs. They've made nearly double the amount of tackles that Leigh have made. All have been on the try line. They've only missed one of them. Hickson it was who gave that penalty away.
So can Batley relieve the pressure? Well, that is good work from Lindsay.
That'll lift Batley. You talked about energy, Tez. It's very important, not just the ball carrier, but who's up in support with him. We say it so many times. If you've got a bloke at the side of you, somebody has to account for you in the defensive line.
Good strong run from Jason Walton. Now here's Hanforth, and Hanforth taking him on himself. Gareth Moore now. Moore closed down by McGrath, Luluai and McCarthy. Govin Here is Hanforth now. Hanforth stabs a grubber kick in, and Olstead across to field that ball. Let's find out about all the claret that's flowing down there. It's awash with blood downstairs, Rod Studd.
Yeah, it's not great news for Leigh, Bill, to be honest with you. James Taylor's in a fair amount of pain. That was the first head injury we saw. He's being stitched up. They reckon they can fix it up and get him back out there, but it's taking a little bit of work. He's been there for 5 minutes and is still with the doctor. Tommy Goulden, that's bad news because they can't fix it up on the ground. They reckon it could be a plastic surgery job. I won't go into the full gory details of how bad the cut is, but he will be on his way to hospital to get a check on that. So Taylor should be fit to return. Goulden won't be at current evidence.
Penalty conceded by the Batley Bulldogs, but that is bad news for Leigh if Tommy Goulden is on his way to hospital. And Taylor taking a bit of repairing.
That's not bad. He's in a fair bit of pain. They're going to stitch him up and they're going to send him back out there.
And the other one's going for plastic surgery. Brilliant game, rugby league, isn't it?
Here is Bybee, Robbie Paul. He's got his own painful story to tell. Just thinking about it makes me squirm.
I'm not even going to ask what it is, Bill.
His maiden, his try, the only one we've seen so far this evening in 24 minutes, just over. Jacob Emmett now. Emmett with Walton all over him. Here's Bybee once more. So normal service resumed as Leigh Centurions come moving forward again. Here is Robbie Paul and puts his foot to the floor. Spun to the ground. That's the 5th tackle. McConnell, Emmett gets the ball back, but he's all wrapped up, and that'll be the turnover. It's good defence this from the Bulldogs.
Good work by Ash Lindsay. Saw that Jake Emmett was coming on that crash ball underneath the sticks. Dave McConnell getting out from dummy half, asking a couple of questions. Can they get through this set of 6?
Well, they're few in number, the Bulldog supporters here tonight, but they're making more noise than the home fans at the moment, even though their side's trailing.
The moral victory has got to go to Batley. They're still sticking in, still digging in. They've made changes. Carl Harrison's been smart with his changes. Knows he needs to keep rolling his big fellas.
Inscrutable Batley Bulldogs coach. And Hanforth, a lovely dummy. Now then, is somebody going to get to him in support? They have. Oh, the pass is a poor one. It was the Chris Buttery who just got there in the nick of time.
Just take the tackle. Look at the break by Hanforth. Very instinctive from behind dummy half. He's looking for support.
No, Chris Buttery can never get that ball away. We talked about the 3 Ps.
Look at the frustration on Carl Harrison.
Possession, position and pressure. And Batley are heaping more of it on themselves than their opponents.
That wasn't inscrutable, that reaction. That told the complete story.
But the
frustration.
The positive for Carl Harrison, they've been under the cosh all night, and they come up with that break. They can create chances to score the tries.
Now then, can they put the pressure on Leigh Centurions, maybe force the error from them? Here is Lee Mitchell. Two-till right up in his face to make the tackle. Govin in there as well. McCarthy heading for a gap in the line, or so he thought then, but they slammed the door on him there. Here is McConnell. McConnell, though, stopped on his own 40-metre line. That's the 4th tackle. Chris Hill now. Still only 22 years of age, Chris Hill. He seems to have been around in this Leigh setup for ages.
He was Leigh's top performer last week when they played against Batley.
The kick from Ridyard is fielded by Alex Brown, and Brown, chunky winger. But that's strong defence, and too strong for the referee's liking. And a penalty against the Leigh Centurions man.
And it was Lula White who gave that penalty away. Brown looked up, he had absolutely nowhere to go. And again, the grapple tackle, done all the hard work, the Leigh chasers. Trap Brown in the corner. Oof, and there you can hear Robert Hicks, don't you look at me like that.
The sun's setting over the Leigh Sports Village Stadium. Beautiful evening. Perfect conditions for these two sides, but a real battle of attrition at the moment. As we said, there were 70-odd points on this pitch last weekend when England played France. Steve McNamara's team getting off to a flyer, but no sign of a repeat tonight.
I'd imagine Carl Harrison is just trying to get the message out to his players. Let's keep hold of the ball, complete a set of 6, and put it on the try line. That's exactly what his lips are saying there.
Gareth Moore, lovely break from Moore. Now then, has he got some support? He has! They're in for the try with Danny Moore, and what a comeback that is from the Bulldogs. Hammered on their own try line. And little Gareth Moore, this diminutive number 7, setting up the try for Danny Moore, number 7 of the season for Mourne.
They've been under all kinds of pressure on their own line. A good little dummy by Gareth Moore, and you can just see weighted that pass to perfection. He'd drawn the fullback Stuart Donlan, just looking at him, he pumps it, Robbie Paul falls for it. He gives a see you later to Lulawai, and good play by Danny Moore. There you can see the Batley fans go wild.
What a response that is from the Bulldogs. Moore on the try scorer, but how about Gareth Moore and the handoff on McGrath Lulawai? There's not a lot of Moore. There's less of Moore than virtually anybody else on this field, and he's the goal kicker. Well, Barry was talking to Sky Sports News earlier on this evening and said that they might not have the names in this Batley side, but there is no shortage of spirit, and they've shown that this evening. As Moore looks for 2 more points and is successful. 8 points to 4, the scoreline here in favour of the underdogs, the Batley Bulldogs. And Danny Moore, the try scorer.
Batley had all the defending to do, and you look at Chris Hill, Lulawai, big players who may well just be suffering from a bit of fatigue. And Leigh have applied all the pressure in the opening 30 minutes or so. They have applied all the pressure and not managed to break Batley down.
Now then, they didn't deal with the last restart very well, and they haven't coped with that one too cleverly either. Nobody there in that hole to gather the ball. Govin was the nearest, and he holds his hand up.
I don't blame Mick Govin. I blame the players behind on that back line. Mick Govin, at some point, has to hold his hand up and say, I can't get to it, lads. And one of those back line runners says, my ball, and catches it on the full.
So Lee Greenwood should have come for that one?
In my opinion, Bill, yes.
Well, he was the nearest. He was the next man in line, if you like. So it's another goal line dropout. This one, it's a good one. It's got away from Donlan and Robbie Paul, and that's a little, just precious extra yards that Leigh Centurions are going to have to make upfield. Remember, they've got 2 players in the blood bin at the moment. Tommy Goulden, we reckon, is out for the evening, and James Taylor also needing treatment. So on an evening when there's energy-sapping heat out there, to be missing 2 of their big go-forward players, well, that is an issue for the Leigh Centurions. And the coach Ian Millwood down on the sidelines now, in actual fact, but they're keeping the ball alive well here. Donlan dumped to the ground. There is the Leigh Centurions coach. Here is the Leigh Centurions captain, Robbie Paul. Now with Chris Hill. That's the 5th tackle. Been here so many times before this evening already, have the Batley Bulldogs. Can they hold out once more? Mitchell for the line. He's dumped to the ground once more. Good defence. And Jason Walton involved. Govin in there to make the tackle as well.
Well, Robbie Paul's testing the honesty of the Batley defenders. We'll talk about there's not many names in this side, but what they are, they're a workman-like side, and they're willing to work for each other when they're defending the try line.
Tyrone McCarthy looks like he's struggling in back play.
Yeah, slow to get to his feet there. Bulldog supporters saw a high shot on Tootil. It was Lindsay, in fact, and Ash Lindsay just wiping blood from his nose, he reckons. Moore swings the ball out wide. Bit of a scrappy play, the ball. Here he is once more, Gareth Moore, and he's really lively now. That's the 5th tackle, though. They're still inside their own 40, and the kicker is down on the ground, but Hanforth is there as well. And Hanforth drills the kick downfield, but straight into the arms of Stuart Donlan. And Donlan coming back at a rate of knots now. Here is Olstead.
Easy picking for Stuart Donlan, that kick. Will not be happy with that, Paul Hanforth.
Tyrone McCarthy shown strongly in this first half for the Leigh Centurions. 2 tackles gone in this set of 6. Dave Armitstead off the bench for the Centurions, takes the tackle on the 40-metre line. McConnell, Ridyard now. That's another high shot. And Paul Hanforth is going to get another talking to from the referee.
I'm sick of telling you, really.
And is on a warning, I suspect.
Tiger Hanforth just coming back and trying to affect the tackle. Too high for the referee's liking. Not like Paul Hanforth, that. He knows he can't keep giving the possession to Leigh and putting the pressure on his team.
Robbie Paul dummies to Dave Armitstead, takes it himself, takes the tackle. Half-time approaching, Leigh Centurions trailing on their own pitch to the Batley Bulldogs in this Northern Rail Cup semi-final, the first of the semis. Keighley against Widnes to come on Sunday. Here is Ridyard again, and Ridyard this time for the line. He's lost the ball at the vital moment. McConnell alongside the referee protesting it was taken out of the player's hands.
Well, there was a number of Leigh players saying to the referee that this was knocked down. Oh, there was nothing wrong with that. The Batley players were just going to affect the tackle.
No more, come on.
I just get the feeling watching this game that Leigh are already looking towards that grand final, already looking towards Blackpool, thinking if we can win that final, then we have a chance to apply for a licence.
Now, this is what we spoke about earlier, that they are under a little bit of pressure.
But to be fair, I don't think the players are thinking that. The players just want to get to the grand final. They're not interested about what's going to come after that.
Well, we've got a bit of work to do to get through to that Northern Rail Cup final. They trail at the moment. And if you need information on that game in Blackpool on July the 18th, well, there is the hotline, 08444 777 or you can go to the RFL's website, therfl.co.uk, for all the information on a big day in Blackpool at Bloomfield Road. Home of Premier League football now, of course.
We'll talk about confidence flowing through this Batley side. And that's a sign of a confident side when they're just dinking it over the top. They're not just willing to kick the ball into the opposition's half. Look at that for defence.
That's great work from Lindsay and Gobbin, driving Ridyard back. Here's Armitstead. Into the last 5 minutes of this first 40, and that's the 5th tackle. Robbie Paul this time hoists the kick, but not a great deal of forward momentum on that, and Brown goes up for it and claims it emphatically.
That's a superb take from Alex Brown there, under pressure, sun in his eyes, jumps up, confidently catches that. Just look at this superb textbook catch. Just going to throw a few stats at you, lads. I'm not normally a stats man, but 85 tackles and 7 misses from Leigh. 141 tackles from Batley and only 1 miss. An outstanding defensive display.
That's a coach's dream, surely, isn't it? All he complain about the miss.
He'll be delighted with the way that Batley are still in this game. Even though they keep making mistakes, even though they keep dropping balls and giving penalties away, their character is strong.
And that is the only thing Carl Harrison will be disappointed with, the penalties and the lost possession.
He'll be very satisfied with that kick from Gareth Moore. Perfect kick into the corner at just this time of the game. And Moore, who has been outstanding in this run of form that the Batley Bulldogs have been on. Once of the Leeds Academy side, and then went to York City Knights. And now just beginning to take on a lot of responsibility in this Batley Bulldog side. So Batley looking to make Leigh work this ball out of defence. Here's Armitstead. Lindsay all over him. McConnell. Chris Hill now, and Hill driving through, trying to beat the line of defence, but Doesn't stop him making a good few yards for the Centurions there. Robbie Paul now, McGrath, Luluai. Luluai going on the outside, gets the ball back inside to Ridyard, but Ridyard taken down on the halfway line. That's the 5th tackle. And Robbie Paul stepping back and just dinking the ball over the top. And Brown fields it at a bit of a hesitation there from the winger, whether it was going to go into touch or whether he ought to go for it. But in the end, Brown made it his own. Campbell now. 22 tries this season. He's got 10 of them in this Northern Rail competition so far, Johnny Campbell. He's a very rapid finisher if he gets into open field.
He's very dangerous with fantastic footwork. He's not bothered about taking the big men on up the middle of the park, using that speed.
Coming up to half-time then, and Batley Bulldogs in possession, and surely the word from the sidelines from their coach will be that just got to see out this first half. But Moore's kick, not such a good one, into the arms of Donlan, and still time in the closing minute or so of this first half for Leigh Centurions to maybe trouble them. That's a good run from Olstead, gets the ball back in field, but fielded by Lindsay. Like a boundary fielder there he was, Ash Lindsay, as that ball came to him along the ground, picked it up cleanly.
Well, Olstead throws this ball back in pitch. He thinks he's going to go into touch, so he offloads the ball back. The man who picks the ball up is Ash Lindsay, tracking back up the middle.
Olstead, for a moment, looked as though he was going to get away on the outside there.
Just look at the direction that Paul Hanforth, the number 6 for Batley, is giving his side. He's looking up, he's probing, he's directing his players.
Gobbin, that's gone behind him, says the referee. And Lindsay there to pick it up. That's the 5th tackle, though. They're running it. They're keeping the ball alive. There could be in again. Greenwood, can he get it down? I don't think he has. I think he's bombed it.
What defense!
He is held up. Greenwood chose to come back inside, and this time it's the turn of the Leigh Centurions defence to stand firm.
What about that from Stuart Donlan? He put his knee under the man, he's come up with the initial shot, he's turned him back inside. Fantastic effort by the fullback. Look at this.
The hooter sounds, and it's on the last tackle. Luluai will take the tackle, and that'll be the end of the first 40 minutes. And what a 40 minutes it has been, and Batley Bulldogs could be ruining a missed opportunity there. Greenwood was surely in if he'd gone on the outside and just flung himself into the corner. But nevertheless, Carl Harrison has got to be satisfied with the effort his side have put in this first half. Hammered on their own try line by the Leigh Centurions. Batley have weathered the storm, and through Danny Morn and the boots of Gareth Moore, they've just got their noses in front. But the semi-final place still up for grabs. Join us after the break. Rail Cup semi-final in progress. Leigh Centurions, the home side, the favourites 4. Batley Bulldogs 8 at half-time. And Barry, the Bulldogs going 2-0 up early on, but then not able to cope with how Leigh came at them.
When we turned up here tonight, we expected to see a very strong Leigh side, heavily favoured to go through this tie and come away with the spoils. And they started very strong as well. Ball going from the middle of the park out to the right-hand side, and Steve Maiden gets Leigh's points. But then Batley suddenly grew in confidence. Hanforth makes a break here. He has 2 options, one left, one right. He chooses Buttery on the left, who forces an offload on the right, and they come up with an error. But Batley through Gareth Moore, lovely step. Big see you later on Luluai, gets Danny Morn over. Then suddenly Batley, after defending for 20 minutes of this game, suddenly think we're in with a chance. The goal line defence has been really impressive. And just at the back end of the half, Greenwood has the chance to score, but Donlan does a tremendous job of keeping him out.
And that could come back to haunt the Batley Bulldogs, because it was a golden opportunity at a crucial time of the game, wasn't it? I mean, do you think I mean, they're going to regret that, surely, aren't they?
I think overall they will be pleased with what they've put out in the first half. They know they're not perfect. They've given away 8 sets of possession through penalties and through errors. But what they have done is they've backed that up with hard work. And the dogs have been dogged. And when it's come time to stand up, they've done exactly that. Will they live to regret that last chance? I think going in at half-time with more points on the board would have done a lot for the Batley Bulldogs' confidence.
Now, we've spoken about the pressure that Leigh are under going into this game because they want Super League. To get Super League and to tick the box on that licence application, the Northern Rail Cup final and victory there is a key element for them. So they are under a bit of pressure. I mean, the players might not be totally aware of it, but behind the scenes, people presumably are saying, you know, this is important to the club.
Absolutely. Leigh, who are a fantastic club with a beautiful stadium now, they're starting to make plans and put things in place for Super League. Playing in the Northern Rail final would have been one of those boxes they wanted to get through, but sometimes you've just got to look at what's in front of you and deal with the immediates, and that's Batley Bulldogs tonight, who've turned up very, very determined. Carl Harrison's done a fantastic job with them, and he's got them ready for the ball game tonight.
And what about little Gareth Moore? I mean, there's not a lot of him, but he's pulling the strings out there, isn't he? As the first half went on, he got more and more involved.
I thought kicking games would play a bigger part than what they have done in that first half. I think that when coaches go in at half-time, they'll say, all right, that's been a little bit erratic. What we need to do is go back to what we set out with right at the very start of the game, which was to pin our opponents down on their try line and pummel them make mistakes. And I think that Leigh and Batley have got away from that, and it became almost a battle and a war of attrition.
And we should point out, of course, Leigh disadvantaged by Tommy Goulden being off and, by the sound of things, from Rod out of the game, and James Taylor as well, not looking as though he's going to be coming back. Well, certainly not in a hurry. So, and those are 2 key players for them off the field, and 2 of the big guys.
2 of the blokes in the middle that will make those hard yards, and I think if Batley can maintain and contain the forwards that Leigh are going to throw at them, because there's a good bit of interchange going along. It's a warm and Norman today, I'll tell you. There'll be lots of sweat, lots of fluid being taken on board, and some players in a game like this can lose 6 kgs in weight, and that has to be replaced with fluid. So management of your substitutes will be vital.
So they're going to be working hard at half-time, as have we been, and we'll be taking some fluid on board while we have a break here. Coming up later this evening, though, Super League's Supermen. Brian Carney, joined by his special guest, Rob Burrow, 9:30, and we'll be back after the break. A little matter of the second half of the Northern Rail Cup semi-final to deal with here. And what a second half it could be. Leigh Centurions 4, Batley Bulldogs 8. The Bulldogs blowing a great opportunity to extend their lead just before the break. And Gareth Moore, well, he was at Thorn in the Centurion side last weekend, when the Bulldogs beat Leigh by 32 points to 12. And he's been very much involved in the thick of it for the Bulldogs tonight in a great effort against this Leigh side. And there's James Taylor, you just saw coming into shot there with the head bandaged, and it looks as though they've managed to repair him. Doesn't sound so good for Tommy Goulden, though, who was another one to suffer a cut. Leigh Mitchell also wearing the headgear. You can just see there is James Taylor. Well, that's patched him up. Leigh Mitchell's got a knock on the head as well. So blood being shed here tonight in the cause of Northern Rail Cup success. And a restart that the Batley Bulldogs managed to get a hold of, and an ironic cheer from their supporters away to our left. I think that's the first one they've got a hold of, isn't it? Ian Proctor confirms. So that's a positive start to the second half to the Bulldogs.
How much energy will they have, though, towards the end of this game? What will the decision-making be like with the well, there you go.
And immediately a calamitous error at the start of the second half by the Bulldogs gives the Centurions possession, and McConnell has the ball.
There you can see a simple mistake. Ash Lindsay.
So here is Robbie Paul drifting across the field. Ridyard ball out wide and too wide for Maiden, and Maiden looks infield. Millward looks from the bench, and they both say, what was going on there?
There's looking for the play. Ridyard trying to set Maiden free. He had a little look up. You saw that Alex Brown was in field. Maiden hugged that touchline. Here's a reaction from Ian Millward. Oh, can't believe it.
Stay up, stay up.
So head and feed to the Batley Bulldogs. Let's get some half-time news. Joining Rod Studd on the sidelines.
Well, I'll tell you what, Bill, that first minute of play has just summed up what both coaches were telling their teams not to do at half-time. So it seems to have gone in one ear and out the other. Ian Millward was talking about doing better stuff around the edges, better edge play when we've got the ball in attack. Well, they've just hurled the ball into touch. He wants a better kicking game, and he is down to just 3 substitutes in the second half. Tommy Golden has gone to hospital. James Taylor okay to go back on. Carl Harrison said, I want them to stop being dumb with the ball with clearing sets. I don't want any knock-ons in their own half. They promptly do exactly that. So both coaches have got a lot to worry about, I think, because it seems that neither team has listened to a word in the 50-minute interval.
Thanks, Rod.
Okay.
And that's a good kick from Moore. And Donlan, well, the pace from Johnny Campbell took him to right up onto Donlan's shoulder, but Donlan just skipped away from trouble. And now it's Leigh's turn to work their way out of trouble. It's a good kick.
That gives your teammates a note for big lift. That when you look up at the side and you're sprinting down trying to put pressure on the opposition fullback. Nowhere to go, Stu Donlan, when he had a look up there. 5 Batley defenders in front of him.
Armitstead takes the pass and gets them the man at the same time, and it was a good tackle from Jason Walton.
Lifted him. You don't see many of them in rugby league now. Right round the ball, just below the ball, drove with his legs and drove him back.
Higson went to ground. Ridyard looking for a 40-20. He could have got one here. It's a great kick, but well fielded by Campbell. Did ever so well then. And Campbell also returns it a good few yards as well. It looked odds on to be a 40-20, that kick from Ridyard.
That's the sign of a confident fullback, Johnny Campbell. As Alex Brown returns the ball, you can see he knows it's going to be a 40-20. Pats it back inside.
Now then, there is Campbell, fleet-footed, the fullback. Can they carry out their coach's instructions this time, the Batley Bulldogs, and keep a hold of the ball? Oh, Walton only just managing to do so. That was high.
Is that a penalty?
Tui didn't like that. It's Mick Govin, I beg your pardon. And Dave Olstead just being advised to move away.
Dave Olstead there, just a little bit too high. It was a nice short side play. Fake to the open, come back to the blind. Lovely little offload. Jason Walton got it away. Look at the frustration here. Ian Millward knows his side needs more composure.
It was Mark Tui who felt it. Leigh Mitchell came flying out of the line there to put a shot on. Didn't succeed. Now Batley attacking the end. Their supporters are congregated in. Here is Hanforth. Hill with the tackle. 3 gone. Govin, Lindsay, Gareth Moore now. Moore, Campbell joining in, but that's a good tackle from Matty Blythe. Down the short side to Alex Brown. Brown, stocky winger, but also good on his feet. Takes him closer to the line. Hanforth stabs a little kick in, and Armitstead, not sure whether he knew an awful lot about that, but the ball goes dead. Satisfactory for the coach.
Batley are doing to Leigh what Leigh did to Batley in the first half. Just piling that pressure on.
Listen to the move.
Now we'll see how Leigh react to it. Will their line be as steadfast as Batley's was in the first half?
Walton fields that restart.
Move.
So Batley, who ended the first half so nearly increasing their advantage, looking for some more points here with Byron Smith, the Welsh international, who was out of favour not so long ago, but has really played himself back into contention. And Sean Hesketh, a big favourite of these Batley fans at that end of the ground, and Hesketh wrestling his way to the try line. Hill with the tackle. Govin. Back in field to Walton. Walton gets it away to Moore. Moore trying to wrong foot them up the middle, but he won't do that. That's the fourth tackle of this set of 6. And they've actually lost a little bit of ground. Here is Byron Smith once more. Smith taking him on, that's the 5th. Will they go for the power play? Govin finds Moore. Moore steps away from the first, puts a little kick in. Well fielded by Donlan. Years of experience in the game, Stuart Donlan. Plays the ball and makes, well, they made a bit of a mess of that. And it's a knock-on by Robbie Paul.
There's a mistake that tells a huge story about where Leigh are mentally in this match. You look at the kick and you think, Mick Govin just rips that ball. He rips it away from Robbie Paul. Mick Govin, he must be setting the world record for training kit this year. He's come to Batley. He wants to make an impression, and Ian Millward knows his side need to get through this patch.
Keep in, Dave.
Frustrating for the Centurions coach, but it's head and feed, in fact, to the Centurions.
Well, it's because in the act of stealing that ball, it was Mick Govin who knocked the ball forward. But this is where Batley have got to play the game. If you play the game up this end of the park, you take Robbie Paul out of the equation. He needs some good field position to play off.
Referee Hicks could have his hands full in the second half as the pressure increases. Place in the final on July the 18th at stake. Of course, the second semi-final to come on Sunday. Big game for the Keighley Cougars at Cougar Park. First appearance in a Northern Rail Cup semi-final up against the holders, the Widnes Vikings.
Enthusiastic defence from Batley. The speed of the line, trying to put pressure on the opposition. Sean Hesketh's had an awful lot of punch since he's come back onto the park for Batley.
Here is Ridyard. Very nearly successful with a 40-20 a moment ago, but can't get there with this one. Fielded by Campbell.
Lovely feet from Johnny Campbell. The ball was bobbling all over the place, and play 2. And they're in. Good ball.
3. Lock in a marker. Move.
Made the ball in possession with Greenwood. Just inside his own half. Byron Smith now.
Move. Go.
Here's Hesketh once more. It's been dominated so far this second half by the Batley Bulldogs. They lead 8 points to 4 here. And Moore hoists that one. McConnell closing him down quickly and putting him under pressure, so the kick not going that far forward, but then it does from Mick Govin. And this time that's a high-hanging one, and Olstead judged it well and links up with Donlan. But the Chasers had time to get forward, close down the Leigh players quickly.
Well taken by Dave Olstead. But again, good challenges from this Batley in the defensive department. They're not standing back and waiting for Leigh to make the plays. They're up in the faces.
And now we hear the Leigh supporters. It's taken them a while to find their voices. Their side needs them. This isn't plain sailing. High shot. Ridyard felt that. And Mark Toohey, well, the victim of a high shot himself not of so long ago. The culprit that time. Wrong-footed, I think, by Ridyard's step.
I think Ridyard was going down, and in the action of slipping, Mark Toohey just clips him right around the chops.
Jason, you concentrate on your tech. Come on.
So Leigh, with that penalty, make a rare visit to the Batley second half in this second half so far, attacking the end where their supporters are congregated. And this is a test for the Bulldogs. Ridyard. Here is Donlan back in field, and again stopped just short of the try line. Saved a try at the end of the first half, Donlan. Robbie Paul now. Here's Tyrone McCarthy looking for an offload there, but they're mobbing him with the Bulldog supporters. McCarthy plays the ball. McConnell, Ridyard once more. Ridyard gets Morn right in the face there. McConnell directing his troops. Robbie Paul chips a kick in, but Greenwood across the field that ball, and they'll bring it back to the 20 for the tap. The coach not impressed by that option.
What about Batley's inside defence?
What about the pace from Johnny Campbell? Campbell on the outside. Campbell's away. Campbell, has he got the legs of Olstead? He hasn't. Olstead back to make the tackle. Good work from Olstead. Here's Brown now. And there you saw the pace of Johnny Campbell. But it's transformed this moment in the game. And they're over the try line with Greenwood. Has he got that ball down?
I think he has.
Greenwood seemed to be wrapped up there, but the Batley fans are at the end of the ground, and they seem pretty convinced.
I think Stuart Donlan has done it again.
I think you're right, Tez, it's on his leg.
He denied him a try in the first half.
Just can't quite get the ball down. It lands on his leg. Great work from Donlan after superb work from Johnny Campbell. 60 metres in a break from the tap.
I reckon he's done it again.
Yeah, big effort by Stuart Donlan.
Stuart Cummins is the video ref. Robert Hicks waits for his decision. No try, and he's held up again. What has Leigh Greenwood got to do to get 4 points in this game?
Big effort. Defence wins you games. That's as good as scoring a try, but it's still Batley on the attack, 10 yards back.
So play continues with the Bulldogs in support.
They're very flat, Batley, very flat. There's no depth.
They go for the power play, and it comes off for them. And it's Hesketh with the try. Sean Hesketh. Well, that caught the Leigh Centurions cold, and Sean Hesketh gets his 6th try of the season. He's giving nothing away, but Sean Hesketh, well, we said earlier on that he was a favourite with the Bulldog supporters. That's the sort of thing that wins you favouritism. Close range, thundering onto that pass to extend the Bulldogs' lead.
It's amazing how sporting matches just turn on a piece of individual brilliance. Johnny Campbell, with all the pace of a sprinter, a little skip, Robbie Paul chases, makes it hard for him. Olstead brings him down, and Donlan's there. He's in that tackle. He gets involved in the next one to deny Greenwood 6 points or 4 points then. All the action is going left, and Sean Paddy Hesketh comes straight and hard and runs right over the top of Mitchell. There's no finesse to that. All the finesse was in the dummy or fake to the left.
An Irish international, Sean Hesketh, also a Great Britain community lion. Now Scottish international, Gareth Moore, looking to add 2 more points, which he does. 14 points to 4 now. The Batley Bulldogs lead. Are Batley going to the Northern Rail Cup final in Blackpool? Carl Harrison. Well, to think that this time last year he was deliberating over whether he wanted this job. He's got a successful business, a lot on his plate. And he's done a great job with the Bulldogs, and the Bulldogs doing a great job tonight.
I was saying before Batley made that break, and the Jack man who's playing the ball, Johnny Campbell, the inside defence on the try line has been absolutely fantastic tonight. The way that they've turned up for each other, they've numbered up in defence. Leigh are throwing everything at them and still cannot break them down.
I mentioned in the first half some stats. I'm going to give another one now. Batley have made 186 tackles and only missed 1.
I tell you what, that was a high one.
Touch judges on. Adam Higson's in trouble, potentially. He's walking away. Byron Smith felt that.
He's caught Byron. It didn't mean anything. As soon as he's made the tackle, he's put his arm up, apologised to the referee. I think he should be apologising to Byron Smith.
Talk to you on the run, but we need to clean this up a little bit. There's just too many penalties. This is your chance. The penalty's back here.
Robbie Paul
Try and move it if you want.
advised to warn his players. Too many penalties, says the referee. The latest of them then committed by Adam Hickson. And it's just playing into Batley's hands. 14-4 they lead. And Hesketh with another good strong run there. Now here is Byron Smith, none the worse for that high shot on him. Hanforth. Lindsay. So hard to put down, Ash Lindsay. Terrific competitor.
Tremendous work from Ash Lindsay. They seem to be using that a lot, Batley. Looking on the short side, seeing if this Leigh side are being honest.
And Batley, again, threatening the Centurions' defence, but that's good work from Matty Blythe, and he's forced the knock-on as well. That could just be a turning point.
Matty Blythe has spotted this on a number of occasions tonight. Johnny Campbell playing deep, coming round on a sweeping play around the back. He's been picked out on every occasion by Matty Blythe.
Get in, ball in, out!
And here is Matty Blythe now, of course, a dual-registered player on Warrington's books as well. Robbie Paul. Chris Hill. Driving the play over the 30-metre line in his own half. Armitstead now, but they're very quickly up on him. Bybee took that one standing still. McCarthy still looking to make progress. They just get over the 40. 3 tackles gone. Bybee once more, and Bybee hand in the face of Hanforth as he gets over the halfway line. Here is Robbie Paul now. Remember, Robbie Paul playing and having made a remarkable recovery from a very serious groin injury. Supposed to be out for 2 months, back after just over 3 weeks. As Campbell goes for it and has lost it and was taken out.
Maiden, I think it was, just takes him out while he's in the action of catching that ball, just enough to put him off. It's a great kick from Ridyard. And he has a strong case to say that he was taken out after he kicked that ball.
But the penalty goes to the Batley Bulldogs for the challenge on Campbell. There's Ridyard. Well, to be fair, it was a bit of a dying swan act from Ridyard.
It was an Oscar-winning performance, that, I think, by Ridyard.
Oh, and that was another high shot. It is getting very tasty, and Danny Morn and Steve Maiden just eyeballing each other after that, and frustration, I think, creeping into Leigh, and a frustration for the Bulldogs as Buttery, butterfingered there, knocks that ball on.
You have to say that there was a Leigh hand in it. I think that's probably justice. It's definitely a Leigh hand in it.
Listen to what I'm saying, ruck and discipline.
It's getting a little bit messy in the ruck now. Both teams trying to slow their opposition down and just gain that extra second.
Referee stops the clock, and a breather for these two sides, because it's still the sun just setting behind the main stand here, but it's still a warm evening.
Has he stopped for a drink there? I thought there was more blood.
Time back on, out.
Head and feed then to the Leigh Centurions on the halfway line. Here is Hickson.
One, move. Great, go.
Armitstead. Chris Hill. Coming up towards the hour mark. And Batley 14-4 ahead here. Jake Emmett. Has always performed strongly for this Leigh side when we've seen them on Sky Sports with him in the team. Bybee, they're edging towards that Batley line now with the Centurions, and Robbie Paul finds Ridyard. Ridyard's pass, and it comes via Donlan to Maiden, back in field to Ridyard. Ridyard looking for a gap, finds Robbie Paul. Robbie Paul spinning, but just short of the try line. That's the 5th tackle. Armitstead scoops it up. Ridyard crossfield kick. It's gone backwards. It's still alive, and they're in for the try. Are they? They're short of the try line. It was Tyrone McCarthy who very nearly got there, and again, the Bulldogs withstand the pressure.
But again, the Batley players turning up from nowhere. Mick Gobbin on that occasion. Tyrone McCarthy thought he was over for the try near the corner. What have they got left?
We've got a cup semi-final on our hands here.
Good effort by Mick Gobbin.
Anguish for the coach, and Hanforth away now. Now then, has Hanforth got some support? He hasn't. Very well taken. Wonderfully well taken. It's Lee Greenwood who managed to get a hold on that ball. It looked to be just moving away from him.
It looked to be forward too. Tiger Hanforth breaking away and getting Greenwood into open space. Batley still in a good position.
And again, the breakout has managed to just turn the tables. Buttery on the last tackle now. Moore, little chip ahead, chases it himself. They've lost it. It's good. It's eventually picked up by Emmett. And in fact, it'll be the turnover, says the referee.
It was worth a crack, Gareth Moore.
Oh, dear
what's
me.
happening here? Nobody there to pick the ball up. Come on, Lee.
Armitstead, in fact, doing the step over.
It was the mouse trap.
I'm not sure about that on your own try line.
I'm not sure.
Just get that ball away from your try line and take it forward.
I don't think Stuart Donlan thought an awful lot of it either.
No, Ian Millwall would not be happy with that. Stop trying to be too clever.
Robbie Paul has to scoop that one up from beneath his feet. That's the 5th tackle, and Batley have done well to restrict the progress. Needs to be a good kick from Ridyard. He's gone for another 40-20. He might come up with it this time, and I just can't get the angle. And Greenwood has to go back and field the ball.
That's smart play from Batley there. There were 3 late chasers. They took it to the line and just tried to get Johnny Campbell free.
But neither can Batley afford to be too fancy on their own try line, on or near their own try line. Brown, good work, he's lost that ball.
Was that stripped?
And the referee has stopped the clock and asked to speak to Robbie Paul.
Well, there's the strip from Maiden.
Told you once, and it's every time they got on a roll, we seem to be penalising you.
Well, there were 2 in the tackle there.
Well, you can hear the referee saying every time they seem to be getting on the roll, you seem to be giving penalties away. They're just struggling to control this Batley side. The forwards are doing the job, their outside backs are doing the job because they know that the forwards have had an awful lot taken out of them in defence.
It's getting frustrating for the Leigh Centurions. Not getting the rub of the green, it seems. That's certainly the view of those supporters away to our right-hand side, the Leigh fans.
If there's any side in this championship that can score a couple of back-to-back tries very quickly, it's the Leigh Centurions.
Going to need to get their hands on the ball and keep their hands on the ball. Chris Leigh back on the field to liven things up, maybe for a flagging Bulldog side. They shouldn't be flagging, they're enjoying its second half. They've dominated much of it. Into the final quarter we are here at the LSV. On the last tackle, little kick stabbed in, and Donlan is again there, and has been a great rear guard for this Leigh Centurion side, and they win the goal line drop out to the Batley Bulldogs.
Outstanding work from Batley Bulldogs. The passion and determination of the Dogs here. Look at this. Pick him up, push him back, and to be fair, when they had the ball, they were running hard and doing it with pace.
Well, Carl Harrison won this competition in 2003 with Salford against Leigh. Now, can he make progress at the expense of Leigh once again here tonight? His side are well set for that. Another try now, and surely then it's too far for Leigh Centurions.
They just can't handle big Sean Escott.
Hanforth, here is Lindsay. 4 tackles gone. Leigh to Hanforth. Hanforth puts the brakes on. Govin, little kick, too strong for Brown.
20.
And maybe the message will go out from the sidelines. Let's cut out the fancy stuff.
At first, Mick Govin was after somebody to cut back inside of him. He'd done everything that he needed to. He pulled the Leigh defenders up in the line. He pulled them towards them. The shoulders are facing the touchline. It was an easy play if some of the Batley players were following him, turning back into the middle of the park.
Taylor, that is wearing 39. Having had suffered that really nasty cut in the first half, and obviously shirt blooded, so he's in his backup shirt, bandaged underneath that scrum cap. Remember, Tommy Goulden not able to appear in this second half for the Leigh Centurions after he sustained a head injury as well. And Robbie Paul has lost that ball, but it's gone backwards, says the referee, and Ridyard retrieves it, then spins the ball out wide to Hickson. Now Hickson up the inside right channel, gets the ball out wide, and a great tackle. What a tackle that was by Johnny Campbell.
Johnny Campbell puts his body on the line and crunches him.
Both of these fullbacks have come up with try-saving tackles in this game. What about that? He's gone high, he's took no chances whatsoever, Campbell. Took Dave Olstead, ball and all, took him into touch.
Sean Hesketh's down, so let me just see what's up with him. You're right.
There you see it. Oof, oh, get that into you. Big display by the both fullbacks.
We'd said that Johnny Campbell's known for his pace and his footwork, but that was a crunching tackle as well. Top try scorer in the championship with 22 so far.
Get in, please.
That hat-trick and 2 doubles as well. But it's tackles like that that make him just as important to his side.
Well, Olstead was hugging that touchline, and Johnny Campbell done everything right. He weighed him up and then went into the tackle and executed the perfect tackle.
Oh, they've come up with an error that could come back to haunt them.
It's Taylor with the big shot. We're just going to make the point. Chris Hill put on a lovely little offload. Look at that. We've seen a good few tackles just targeting the ball, hitting it hard and low. We don't see many of them in rugby league. It's all about the control, the ruck, the wrestle. That's just pure impact.
Chris Buttery it was who couldn't keep a hold of that ball, and it's in the hands of Matty Blythe now for the Leigh Centurions, and they're on that Batley 10-metre line. Maiden, scorer of the only points for the Leigh Centurions so far this evening, and that was very early on in the game. When they led 4-2, they trail 14-4 now, but can they do something about it here now? And Jake Emmett, big young man Emmett, 21 years of age, but on his back in front of those posts. Here is Bybee now, and Bybee for the line, and Bybee is driven back as well. 4 tackles gone. They'll surely look to give this one a bit of width. Ridyard fancies it himself, but he's stopped in his tracks. And the Leigh supporters behind those posts imploring them to give it some width. So they do try and go wide, and Hickson lost the ball, loses the ball. It'll be the turnover.
And again, what outstanding defence. Leigh looked very disorganised in the middle of the park, looking for somebody to put a play on. One of the Batley players waiting for Leigh to put them players on. They were just up in the face. Look at this. Hanforth again going over the top. Hickson trying to offload the ball. They make the mistake.
Move. Hold. Go. 3. Move. Hold. Go.
Goes from bad to worse in terms of the stress level for the Leigh Centurions coach.
Go.
There's a lot of passing from Leigh, a lot of plays, a lot of structured stuff. I'm not sure that's working against a highly motivated Batley side. Look at that chase from Morn.
But Robbie Paul ducked under the challenge, and Leigh looked to bring this ball away. Must just say a word for the lads of the Oxford Cavaliers Academy side who'll be watching this game. Newcomers to the game of rugby league, a lot of them, but very much caught up with it. And the Oxford Cavaliers Academy play their first game this Sunday against Northampton Academy at Oxford Rugby Club. It's a big game for them on Sunday. It's a big game now for Leigh Centurions and the Batley Bulldogs. Place in Blackpool for the final on July the 18th at stake. And time is running out for the favourites, the Leigh Centurions. They need something soon. Brown right in the face of Donlan. Crowd didn't like that one. On the last now. Matty Blythe's kick is a poor one, and Gareth Moore scoops it up.
Two big plays by Alex Brown. He come in off the touchline, he cut the play off, and then he was a word at marker, forced the error.
Well, that was probably heart-in-mouth time for Gareth Moore as he played for that ball. Just a little kick ahead from... I suppose he had to go for it, but that could have come unstuck.
Alex Brown's done a fantastic job at coming in, but you can get that right as many times as you can get it wrong, and I'm sure Ian Millwall will get the message out. Let's look to play at him.
Now here's Hesketh. Beg your pardon. It's David Tootill, one of the many headband wearers, that's my excuse, out there. And Stuart Donlan judged that one to perfection, but so did Gareth Moore.
Batley will be happy to get the ball off the island, just puts an outside spin on it, and Donlan doesn't want to chance it.
Keep it quick, keep listening. Discipline to the
Well,
end.
Leigh need a point a minute if they're going to get out of this hole. They need something spectacular, and they're going to have to come from deep if they're going to achieve that. The winners of this against Keighley or Widnes.
I think it's around about that time now where they need to throw a bit of caution to the wind. I mentioned Chris Hill and his offloads, and that troubled Batley.
What's going to be interesting, though, with 12 minutes left, how much pressure will they put on themselves? The 2 scores behind on the scoreboard. That man, Robbie Paul, looking to weave his magic.
A lot of passing, a lot of structure.
And this Batley Bulldogs defence just sticking to its plan.
It's been absolutely terrific from minute 1 to 68 minutes. They want to keep it up for the next 12 minutes, though.
Oh, McConnell's pass, it looked hopeful for a moment as McConnell offloaded, but it was Lindsay who snatched the ball out of the air, and there's a Leigh player down.
And again, they're looking to offload this ball, keep the play moving. Ash Lindsay in the right place at the right time. Trying to get that ball away to Mitchell up the middle of the park.
There's 11 minutes to go.
We have had some casualties in this game. There's a
Absolutely.
lot at stake, and the players are putting absolutely everything into it.
Clock is stopped. Well, Batley looking for their first appearance in a major final since 1952, when they lost 18-8 to Huddersfield in the Yorkshire Cup final in front of 15,000 at Headingley. Can Carl Harrison take the team to that major final? Okay, they won a couple of minor trophies in 1998, the late lamented, much mourned Trans-Pennine Cup. The Leigh Centurions, though, it's the much more recent history of success in this competition, and really were expected to go back to Blackpool. But he's got injured players out there.
And is that some more clarity? The doctor wiping away the blood on the face. See, just dabbing it on his head. This game has been brutal.
Well, Steve Maiden, there's another one. There's been some cuts out there. Some nasty gashes. And Steve Maiden, try scorer. Well, back-to-back try scorer, as you can see there, against Batley last week in defeat, and against Batley again tonight. And the way it's looking at the moment, again in defeat. Sporting applause from the Dog supporters for Maiden. And it's a clash of heads. Ash Lindsay.
Well, it's Ash Lindsay's been all over the park. Steve Maiden doesn't know where he is.
Well, Ash Lindsay's already strapped up, as you can see. He probably didn't feel a thing.
It looks like a convention for Mr. Bump out there on the park.
I reckon we might see a drop goal now.
Well, we said Gareth Moore have been practicing them. So that's the call.
Even though there's 12 points in it. 10 points.
They are edging towards those posts as Tutil slowly gets to his feet to play the ball. There was a Leigh man in the rucks. Referee says play on. They've gone away from the posts, but Moore is screaming for it now. Have Leigh got the legs to get there and close him down? It doesn't look like it. Moore has gone for it. He's got it. And he could have got a place in the Northern Rail Cup final for his side with that.
I think Carl Harrison can afford to think now his side might just have edged away one step closer to Blackpool. Perfect technique from Gareth Moore, cool, calm and collected.
Will there be distance on this or will it go short?
Distance.
They've gone for distance again, hoping that they'll make another mistake. This time Campbell was underneath it, so they need 2 converted tries. To the Leigh Centurions. And they've got under 10 minutes to do it, and they haven't shown. As the game has gone on, less have they shown an ability to crack this Batley Bulldogs defence.
I reckon Batley won that game. If they go on to win it, they won that game in the opening 20 minutes when, as I said, they were absolutely pummeled on their own line and they just stood fast. And even now, at this point, I'm sorry to keep throwing these stats out, but nearly 250 tackles and only 3 missed.
Well, Batley have had a 100% record in this competition, unbeaten in qualifying. They won their home quarter-final against Sheffield. And they're on the attack again with Moore looking for a second and getting it and sealing the victory for the Batley Bulldogs. A try that will take them into the Northern Rail Cup final, surely now. And just a little glow of satisfaction on the face of their coach, Carl Harrison. A mighty warrior himself, but his side have put on a warrior's performance tonight, and Ian Millwood can only wonder about what might have been had his side converted that possession and territory they had earlier in the game into points.
This is just smart play. Tiger Hanforth fakes the kick, gives it to his half-back partner Gareth Moore. The ball out wide, Danny Maughan sells a lovely little dummy, and just look at what it means to these players. They know at this point in time they can't be caught. They're on the way to Blackpool and they've earned it through hard work, sheer toil and determination. An outstanding display from Carl Harrison's men.
Danny Maughan, an outstanding performance from the Batley Bulldogs centre. Very experienced player now, 29 years of age. And Gareth Moore, from the touchline, will look to maintain his 100% record in the boot, with the boot. It needed a big second half performance from the Leigh Centurions, but we haven't seen it. Instead, we've seen 2 tries from the Bulldogs, from Hesketh and now Maughan. Moore misses with that conversion, but 19 points to 4 now. The game surely is beyond the reach of the Leigh Centurions.
Chris Hill come out of the line, he tried to put an awful lot of pressure on Hanforth, but Danny Maughan's deserved that. His enthusiasm on the kick chase for Batley has gone a long way to getting them this result.
And lads, we looked at last week, it was 32-12 to Batley last week, and we said with 9 players coming into the Leigh side, then they're going to win this match. We all were guilty of thinking that, but Batley have just took it to Leigh.
Well, it has been a fantastic defensive performance, as Barry's pointed out with his stats from this Batley Bulldog side, to keep Leigh scoreless since minute 13 of this game. So an hour against one of the top sides in the championship, well, the second place side in the championship. But that 32-12 win last Sunday against this Leigh side was no fluke from Carl Harrison's Batley team.
And that's what'll disappoint Ian Millward. The one-up tackle, the first up, the initial contact has not been good enough from Leigh today.
Moore's kick finds Robbie Paul, what they would have given for a fully fit Robbie Paul. He quite apparently hasn't been able to fire on all cylinders. We haven't seen the bursts of pace in broken play from Robbie Paul.
It's very brave to be out there with the injury that he's carrying, still to put his hand up for his team. Says a lot about that bloke.
Here's McConnell, Bybee. And up to the halfway line. 5 minutes to go. Well, Batley heading for Blackpool. First final in over 50 years, first major final in over 50 years. But here comes Donlan, who has been outstanding for this Leigh Centurion side. Denied Batley another 2, possibly 3 tries. It could be an even bigger margin for the Batley Bulldogs. You've got to remember that Leigh Greenwood having 2 opportunities denied.
Well, that was a Robbie Paul bit of magic when he set Stuart Donlan free up the middle of the park then.
McCarthy flattened on the last, and that's symptomatic of this Batley performance.
Ian Millward shaking his head. Danny Maughan has been absolutely tremendous.
I wouldn't like to have to pick a man of the match from this Batley performance, because 1 to 17 they've been outstanding, haven't they?
They've been absolutely, they've turned up here, and they're quite right, Barry. What he said from before was that Leigh have had 9 players, 9 senior players coming back into the team, and probably thought that they could just had to turn up and get the result. But this Batley side had other ideas. Problem with Alex Brown.
Okay, wait there. Well, don't walk forward.
It's his left arm. As he go down into the tackle.
I don't know whether he's hyperextended his elbow in the process of handing off, but you're right, Bill, there's been outstanding performers. Sean Ethgeth, Walton, Leigh. If I was picking the man of the match, which luckily I'm not tonight, it'd probably go to one of the half-backs. The kicking game and the guile with ball in hand from Moore and Handford has been outstanding.
I thought he was going to put his reputation on the line then and say he'll have to go to a Batley player.
Alex Brown is in fact leaving the field, which is a bit of a worry. But here goes Lindsay on the break. Lindsay has got Campbell in support. He's got Leigh in support as well. And surely Chris Leigh will wrap this up now. Another try for the Batley Bulldogs. And Ash Lindsay could have picked any one of 3 players alongside him there. In the end, it was Chris Leigh, the hooker. 5th try of the season for the long-serving Batley Bulldogs hooker in his 9th season at the club, and a losing semi-finalist in 2008, Chris Leigh. So sweet return for him.
What a beautiful try right in front of the Batley fans. Ash Lindsay causing problems as he has done all night. It's a simple 4-on-1, and Leigh is on the spot to get that ball down. And I don't think even the most optimistic Batley fan would have come here expecting a scoreline like this. He still has work to do, gets down nice and low and jams that ball down. Carl Harrison and Tiger Handford exchange a bit of bromance.
Well, Batley lost here 26-4 in the championship on Easter Monday. Matty Blythe got a hat-trick that day. Really, there's never been any danger of a repeat of that result here tonight. There was just that phase early in the game as Moore converts successfully. Just that phase early in the game where Leigh were hammering at the Batley line. But that apart, you've got to say that Carl Harrison's men have dominated this semi-final. And with 3 minutes to go, they lead by 25 points to 4.
Unbelievable scoreline. Carl Harrison will be absolutely thrilled to bits. They've done the double on him now. Was that in 5 days?
You've got to say that Leigh Centurions have been hampered by Robbie Paul out there not fully fit, John Duffy not able to play either.
But then are we making excuses for Leigh, or are we not being positive about this Batley side? Because they've still had all the players. They've had 4 dual registered players from Super League clubs, who all of them, I think, played Super League last weekend.
No, it's been a titanic performance from the Bulldogs. They have, if you'll excuse the pun, hounded Leigh Centurions all night. And they've left their fang marks as well.
They've been like a dog with a newborn.
As Moore tries a little bit of individuality, it doesn't come off, and Bybee picks it up. Moore puts his hand up, and says sorry about that. On the halfway line, Blythe. Is there some consolation in this game for the Leigh Centurions? Well, now they're going to have to focus their attention on their championship campaign. Aim for the grand final. But of course, 6 points, I think, behind the leaders Featherstone now. Leigh Centurions, so ground to make up there. Robbie Paul chips a kick over the top. Moore is there, goes to ground, and eventually is driven into the ground as James Taylor arrives. Taylor an early casualty for the Leigh Centurions. Tommy Goulden not able to take much part in the game either.
They've started a lot of the sets positively because of that man who's playing the ball, Johnny Campbell. He's caught the ball on the full, he's returned it with interest. Been helped then by Alex Brown and Lee Greenwood, the wingers for Batley. Makes it a lot easier for the forwards like that man, Sean Hesketh, to take the ball forward.
Batley, the clock counting down and the celebrations will start. Well, those supporters who've made the journey this evening from West Yorkshire have seen a fantastic performance from their side. 17 unanswered points in this second half. They could have had more had Stuart Donlan not got in the way for the Leigh Centurions. And let's hope that the Batley Bulldogs, who struggled to win some support in their home territory, really work hard. Carl Harrison's brother Paul always putting the hours in, as do the rest of the club staff. Well, they will certainly be banging out the message now. Hey, your local side is going to a major cup final for the first time in over 50 years on the back of a massive performance here at the home of their opponents, Leigh Centurions. Celebrations start on the field for the Bulldogs players. And they've all played their part, and Ian Millwood, well, shell-shocked perhaps might be the description after that. His side, strong favourites going into this game, were outsmarted by this Batley Bulldogs side. And who do you pick as man of the match after a team performance like that? Well, the sponsors have gone for the Batley fullback, Johnny Campbell. He's now with Rod.
Johnny, well done on the man of the match